Canelo. Back to Canelo. Would you rather see him fight a Terence Crawford or Benavidez?
We were talking about Terence. Who?
Oh, who? What we talking about? You want to see Canelo fight Terence Crawford? What's going on, guys? Good morning. Welcome back to the channel. Came across this interview with Bernard Hopkins, Fight Hype. It's over Terence Crawford versus Canelo Alvarez. Bernard's preaching. He's preaching. He's making sense. And he's speaking to the Crawford fans. And I want the Crawford fans to listen to Grandpa Hopkins. He's got the gray beard. He's established as Grandpa now. A lot of wisdom, a lot of knowledge, been in the ring. You can't argue with his facts that he is dropping. Let's listen.
Well, you know, the casual fan, they don't care about weight classes. They just know the names. Crawford, Canelo,
Crawford cares about his life. And with that fight, what do that fight do for Canelo? Fighting Crawford, and Crawford beats Canelo. What did that do for Canelo?
So, basically what he's saying is, what does that do for Canelo? If Crawford comes up to 168 and he beats Canelo, then Crawford, of course, he would get accolades. He will get all credit. Oh, man, this guy came up 3 weight classes. He beat Canelo. Terence would obviously be one of the greatest of all time at that point. But realistically, we know Canelo would beat Terence. Fight wouldn't even be close. So what would that really do for Canelo? Nothing. You just literally did something we all knew you would do. You beat a little man. Let's keep going.
I just think that there are so many other fights to make that's realistic. It makes sense.
Realistic.
And less life risking on top of the risk that we risk stepping in there with guys our weight. And now you want me to do something. Canelo's not coming down to 60.
So it's already life risking getting in the ring. Every time a fighter gets in the ring, they're risking their life. And that's why they get paid the money they get paid, right? Because anytime they get in there, they can potentially be physically injured permanently for the rest of their life and be disabled. They can get eye injuries. They can break hands, tear ligaments, suffer concussions that's lifelong lasting, have speech impediments, memory loss. So it's already risk. It's risk taking. You're putting your life on the line every time you get in the ring. So why go up 3 weight classes to make that risk even more paramount, right? That's what he's saying. Let's keep going.
No. It's Crawford who wants it. He wants the chance to prove he's the best.
He wants the bag.
I get it.
Yeah.
I get it.
Right.
And again, that's one of what's happening on the shakeup of the New World Order, where you got fighters that's really 54 at best, wanting to take on a Canelo who can actually fight a cruiserweight and maybe give a cruiserweight.
Now, this whole New World Order that he's speaking of is the state that boxing is in, right? There's not a lot of fighters. There's not a lot of fights that can be made. Big fights, right? We've had a lot of big fights this year, but now it's dormant, right? And we've only had like 4 fights this year. It's not a lot of abundance of opponents that can just face each other constantly. And we can have big fights once a month or once every 2 months, once every 3 months, right? Some years we get them like that where we have a big fight back to back. And then some years we go and it's like, boxing is just in a state of quietness. So the New World Order now is, because we don't have the abundance of opponents that Terence Crawford can fight at 147. Now we're getting these 147, jumping up 3 weight classes, undisputed versus undisputed. Gervonta Davis talking about fighting Terence Crawford. You're getting all these people from different weight classes that should not be fighting, that's talking about fighting because of the new state of boxing.
At this moment, all the hell they can want. If you can't hurt a guy like Canelo, and you don't have height and depth to be able to at least have something to work with, then we're going to see another, what they say, boring fight.
So, Charlo, he went up the 2 weight classes. All the casual fans and the fans that were saying, oh, Charlo has a chance, they was under this misconception that Charlo really had a chance, not taking in consideration that he was coming off a 15-month layoff. He was coming off a hand injury. He was moving up 2 weight classes. And above all, he was fighting Canelo Alvarez, one of the best fighters pound for pound to ever fight. They didn't take that into consideration. So what did you get? When Charlo could not do anything with Canelo Alvarez, you end up getting a boring fight. So if Terence Crawford moves up in weight and he's not able to deliver what the fans are saying that he can do, you're going to end up getting another boring fight. So let's keep going.
It's a smart fight. I understand the money grab. I understand it's about the bag.
That's all it's about, is the bag.
Crawford ain't 26. Another major network is saying they packing their bags up. You will see a lot of desperate moves jumping off.
So, Terence Crawford, does he really have a chance? Slight chance, not really. And he's saying, look, Terence Crawford is 36 years old. He's really at the peak to the downside of his career. Does he really have a chance to beat a Canelo Alvarez? Or are we seeing desperate moves being made by networks that are potentially about to pack their bags and go somewhere else, right? If Showtime cannot be profitable in making these big fights, they're going to have to stop putting them on. So now they're trying to make all these matches, these unrealistic matches happen to keep the interest at Showtime and keep boxing alive. And they're looking desperate. Let's keep going.
You're going to see a lot of very unrealistic, unorthodox, crazy thinking, crazy gossip about what fighter should fight what fighter. That doesn't make sense. But it only makes sense if you don't have nowhere else to go, and you start reaching for straws. And then it would die down. Gossip is not going to happen. I guarantee you it's not going to happen.
Canelo Crawford, you mean?
It's not going to happen.
He's saying, you heard him, they're getting desperate. They're reaching for straws. Terence Crawford versus Canelo is a straw match. People are reaching for straws, man. We got to find a fight. We need to make something happen. You know, Canelo has options. He can fight David Benavidez, right? There's too much risk right there. If he does fight David, let's let that be the last fight. So in the meantime, let's put some fillers in there. Let's get Jermell at 154. Let's get Terence Crawford at 147. Hell, let's pull up Gervonta Davis from 135. Let's just reach for these straws to make these fantasy matches. To make these fantasy matches to keep boxing alive.
To me, I mean, how can people be so fooled?
How can people be so fooled, so oblivious to the fact that it's not a realistic fight? Like, how can they not see this? What is keeping them from understanding this? Why do they think, obviously, they're just fans of Terence Crawford. I get that part. But why doesn't the logic resonate? Why doesn't it resonate in the mind that, yeah, I like Terence, but this fight is just not realistic. Can we see him fight somebody else at his weight or at 154? Why is that? Bernard's going to explain why.
To go for distractions. Like, why do you think the jab is so important in boxing? Because if I can distract you with this, like, let's look at Crawford's been a distraction to fight Canelo. We're talking about this distraction, and over here you're getting your pocket picked.
Like, do you get that analogy, right? In boxing, the jab is the most important punch because it's a distraction. It's distracting you from the overhand right. It's distracting you from the left that's about to come, or the body shot, right? Because you're getting hit with this jab, and then they go down low or they come over the top. Crawford, Showtime is using Crawford as the jab. They putting Crawford out in your face. They jabbing you with Terence, right? They jabbing you. And you being distracted by Terence Crawford fighting Canelo. Meanwhile, Showtime is behind you picking your wallet, right? They're taking the money out your wallet because you just bought this fight that in reality wasn't realistic from the jump. All they wanted was the money, right? And you got your pocket picked.
See, you got to be old Philadelphia hustler to understand.
See, I got a hustler mentality. That's why I understand this.
Right? To understand why you being occupied over here. They're trying to keep you occupied, fans. They're trying to keep you in a bamboozled state of mind.
Bamboozle.
Hoodwink, led astray, run amok.
Guys, listen. I don't get on here and say Terence Crawford versus Canelo Alvarez is unrealistic because I'm hating on Terence or because Earl Spence lost to Terence Crawford. Earl Spence lost. That fighters lose all the time. I get on here and I say exactly what I think or what I perceive to be realistic and true. I know for a fact Terence Crawford versus Canelo Alvarez is not realistic, nor is it true, nor does it make any sense. That's not hating, right? That's not me trying to hate on Terrence's accomplishments. That's not me trying to say Terence isn't a great fighter. That's not me trying to say I'm mad at Terence because he did something that has nothing to do with me. Oh, he beat Spence. I don't know Earl Spence. They're just two guys. Earl don't owe me nothing. Neither does Crawford. So there's no reason for me to hate on Terence. So why would me applying logic like Grandpa Hopkins is doing, why is it that I'm hating? Oh, I don't want to see him get the bag. I bought the Earl Spence versus Crawford fight, so I helped him get a bag. So why would I care if he got a bag against Canelo? I wouldn't. I just wouldn't support the fight because I know what it's about, and that's the money grab. That's the hoodwink. That's the bamboozle state that he's talking about that you fans are in and suffering from. Until y'all get out of that state, y'all don't see the jab that they hitting you with while they picking your pocket. Y'all let me know what y'all think. I'm out.